Hello, welcome back to the PinkUn Matchday vlog. My name is Southwell, and as you may be able to see, in glorious surroundings on Sunday afternoon, of course, Norwich City hosting Manchester United at Carrow Road today. Definitely going to be a big one. Okay, Manchester United are where they are at the moment, and they might not be perhaps where they aspire to be, and they might not be what they were 5, even 10 years ago. But this is still a Manchester United team full to the brim with individual talent. Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, Paul Pogba, although he's probably not going to play today as an example, and Norwich City, these are the games you get promoted to play in. As you can see, the pitch is looking glorious. The ground isn't actually open yet, but what a wonderful setting this could be in what is a nice clear afternoon, or it's meant to get quite chilly later, my colleague Dave Freezer tells me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a game perhaps that's a little bit tentative, that's a little bit nervy, particularly early on, but whichever team grasps the mantle and really goes for it, there's a massive opportunity here for points. Manchester United will be full of confidence, of course, after that draw against Liverpool last Sunday, and then they'll win in the week against Partizan Belgrade, so it's going to be interesting again there. You're going to follow me around today again, as we always do. Didn't last week, just because of a bit harder to turn around away from home than at home, but no doubt they will be back in the future, we promise you that. Of course, Norwich City drew 0-0 to Bournemouth last week, but you're going to follow me around today. You're going to see the match day as it unfolds, and hopefully come full time we'll be standing in this position talking about a Norwich City victory. Half time at Carrow Road, just about caught my breath after that first half. Absolutely relentless wave after wave attack for Manchester United, VAR playing a massive part as well. The second one from Todd Cantwell, probably naive from Cantwell's part. His arm is well above his head, and as soon as the ball strikes it in that position, you're always going to get yourself in a poor position. Norwich City haven't really threatened at all. They've had a pot shot from Todd Cantwell early on that went over the bar, probably their best chance of the game, and then Cantwell had a shot from range later on that De Gea parried. Both of United's goals, particularly the second one, really well worked. Dan James picks out Rashford with an exquisite crossfield pass, and Rashford just left to run through and convert. Tim Krul's going to take plaudits. 2 penalty saves from Rashford and Martial respectively. He's kept Norwich City in the game, and now in this second half they have to pick themselves out and make an impact from a defensive point of view, because Pukki's cut an isolated figure and has really struggled to get any sort of rhythm going. Good evening, welcome to Carrow Road. This was the scene as Norwich City lost 3-1 to Manchester United. United getting their first away win since February in the Premier League. Of course, one on Thursday night in the Europa League. That's a run of 3 really good results, really, if you consider Liverpool and Partizan Belgrade in the Europa League. It was evidently a more attackingly minded performance from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's men. You can see with Martial, Rashford and Dan James as a front three with Pereira behind them. That was pretty devastating, as Norwich City found out. In terms of Norwich's performance, it was interesting. I thought first half they perhaps emphasised too much on the defensive side of the game. Teemu Pukki cut an isolated figure for a lot of the game and lacked really any real support as Norwich attempted to move forward, and that resulted in them essentially being pinned into their own half, and then United could just have relentless waves of attacks because they were picking up second balls, and Norwich's clearances were just being regained by them. But what United did really well was displace Alex Tettey in terms of his positioning. He was so effective last week at Bournemouth in terms of how he screened that back two and the space in between Amadou and Godfrey. Today, Andreas Pereira had a bit of joy in pulling him away from those two and creating space for Rashford, James and Martial to attack in. VAR will be a prominent topic of conversation, no doubt, heavily involved here, overturning two decisions. The first one, you have to say, is pretty abysmal in terms of how it's given. It's a coming together in front of the Barclay end between Dan James and Ben Godfrey. Initially looked slightly clumsy from Ben Godfrey. The referee waved it away. Play continued. The ball goes out for a throw-in. VAR takes 2 to 3 minutes to overrule the decision and give a penalty. If you watch it again, Dan James has almost leant into Ben Godfrey, and Godfrey's not made contact with the ball, admittedly, but equally with the man. It was just a clumsy coming together in the penalty area. Very, very, very soft. Probably not a penalty. For me, VAR got that one wrong. The second decision was a Fred volley, or a Fred shot from outside the area. Todd Cantwell, this one more clear cut, with his arm sort of up here, and as soon as you put your arm above your head, you're going to be in trouble, and VAR rightly ruled that one to be a penalty. Of course, Tim Krul saved both of those in what was a pretty heroic display from the Dutch goalkeeper all afternoon. It prevented this scoreline being perhaps a lot worse than it was. But if we speak about Norwich, again, as I mentioned, just very disjointed. Didn't feel like there was a lot of balance in that side. It was too focused on the defensive side of the game. Mo Leitner was a passenger in the first period, really playing a role in which he couldn't really get a feel for the game. There was no one really in support of Teemu Pukki for extensive periods of that first half. Difficult afternoon. More injuries sort of prior to Manchester United, or after Man United's third goal. I think Tettey went down, Amadou went down, Buendia went down, Krul had treatment as well. So it was all in all a quite tough afternoon for the Canaries, who licking their wounds slightly at the moment. You have to feel sorry for them. What I would say is don't turn disappointment into a crisis, because there were plenty of positive moments within that performance. For second half more so than first, when Farke did change the system and Norwich had a bit more of a go at Manchester United's back line. But in truth, United could have, probably should have won by more, and that has to be a concern once again. Norwich travel to Brighton next week in desperate need of points, in desperate need of a performance, and in desperate need of a win, because as we can see in the Premier League, no matter how high the highs are with that Manchester City win, you can then go 5 without a win, and confidence can be sucked out of this place. But Norwich City need to pick themselves up. They need to work on ensuring they get that balance right, because at the moment it feels like when they look good going forward, they're exposed defensively, and when they try and defend, they lose that potency up top. So that balance is difficult to find. But yeah, Manchester United excellent today, fully deserved their win. They were better in every department. Norwich City can have no complaints about the scoreline today. They've got Tim Krul to thank that it wasn't even worse. But that was about the story of the afternoon. Again, as I keep saying, difficult, tasking, and this is really going to test Norwich's philosophy now and test their way, and they're going to get questions and they're going to get pelters, but they have to respond to that with their head held high, and they have to keep trying to play their way. They've been crippled by injuries. I think that's fair to say. They haven't particularly had any luck. You can point to that first VAR decision, okay, but it was rendered irrelevant in the end because Rashford subsequently missed it. But even so, if that's a Norwich decision, I'm not quite sure they get it. So that sums it up. But yeah, difficult afternoon. Manchester United worthy winners, 3-1 winners at Carrow Road.